Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to show you some of the most heavily censored JRPGs in history, how and why they were censored, and how some of them were even banned in some countries out there. Oh yeah, are you ready? Then let's begin! Number 10. Xenoblade Chronicles X. Several features were changed or censored from this Wii U exclusive. The most popular one is regarding some of the costumes for the ladies, like that famous swimsuit for example, or the complete removal of the bunny outfits. Breast slider was removed from character customization as well to tone down the fan service. The dolls were now named Skells because, well, I don't know, I guess the term doll is considered offensive nowadays. Beats me, man. But this is the one change that seems the most insulting to me because from what I read, there's a huge plot reason why these robots are called dolls. If you thought they changed a lot of names in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, X didn't lag behind that area. Plenty of that was found here too. Most references to the game Xenogears were gone, and also some religious themes which are vital to the Xeno series were also either altered or straight up censored. I wonder if part of the censorship will vanish if this game ever gets ported to the Switch. Number 9. Breath of Fire 4. Capcom has a long history of being censored in the West. Ironically, most decisions have been done by them, unrelated to Sony's or Nintendo's policies. In the case of this game, it's hard to tell. First of all, Nina and Ursula had a bathing scene in a pond with Ryu spying on them that was completely removed from the game. The stupidest thing about this is that they weren't even shown at all in the Japanese one. All you can see is their conversation. One alteration that wasn't noticeable is when Ryu accidentally grabs Ursula's boob. No one reacts in the North American release, but of course, there is a reaction in the Japanese one. She also drops her pants to show she's female to some pirates in the game, another scene censored. Lastly, the main antagonist, Fo Lu, has a famous scene where he decapitates the Emperor. This is pixel art we're talking about, so what's the point? And the original scene isn't bloody or explicit at all, so it's not like it was visually harmful for all those pure teenagers playing the game outside Japan. I think this game had really dumb changes, perhaps the dumbest in the list. Number 8. Zangie Zero Last Beginning. This one's controversial because a lot of people say the censorship was justified. It's a very obscure action RPG with roguelike elements during battle, you know, you move and the enemy moves too, but it also revolves around life simulation as a survival game with characters trapped in a deserted location. Anyway, let's start with the cover showing one of the female characters with a larger swimsuit. As if the original was that inappropriate, Jesus. Most CGIs were altered to reduce the depictions of some characters, especially the ones looking underage. Most notable changes revolve around the character Sachika, a very young looking girl. Some of the bedroom scenes were slightly altered too to be less provocative as well, but the ones with the child versions of the characters were pretty much cut off. This last part is perhaps the one that a lot of gamers seem to justify as legit censorship. Yeah, I honestly don't know what to think of this as I have mixed feelings about it, so let's just move on. Number 7. The Encino Saga Trilogy. Most of the censorship of this wholesome release comes straight from episodes 1 and 3. In the first one, there was some controversy around a certain scene between Albedo, the main antagonist, and Momo, the little android girl. There is a very dark and disturbing scene where Albedo pretty much torments Momo. Things like twisting another small android's arm, for example, were altered. The entire time he's using a knife to prove his malevolent point in the Japanese version, but that same knife was entirely removed in the North American release. Albedo cuts off his arm and then his head, oh yeah. Strangely though, the people who localized this game thought it would be a better idea to show Albedo decapitating himself with his own hands. I guess they couldn't completely get rid of that scene without destroying a big part of the context. Another scene between these two characters was altered, one where Albedo tries to extract a magic key from inside Momo's chest. However, the translation was left very ironically intact, and it makes up for something uncomfortable to watch either way. Still, I think it was dumb to censor it. In Encino Saga 3, perhaps the most famous censorship is the complete removal of any blood whatsoever. Perhaps this was done to get the game a teen rating. I'm just not sure why something so simple as blood had to be removed. It doesn't have anything gore or brutal. Once again, a bunch of dumb changes for no real reason. Number 6. Revelations Persona. If there's one Persona game that's had the most censorship of them all, it's by far the first one. More than censorship though, it received several alterations that are incredibly stupid. An entire route called the Snow Queen was removed merely for having a lot of text. Characters' appearances were changed just to please, presumably, the American market. These changes include hair colors and a very confusing change from a white character to black. Huh? And this was all the way back in 1996, when nowadays it's done quite often. But these alterations aren't exactly what we could call censorship per se, just part of an imbecilic localization. But of course, we can't leave out changes done to the script, including some of the names, to avoid some more religious controversies as usual. The worst of it all is how butchered the original version was, leaving out one of its two major arcs, the aforementioned Snow Queen route. This came back along with Mark's original design in the remake for the PSP. So yeah, don't play this convoluted trash, stick to the remake. Number 5. Dungeon Travelers 2. In this video you'll see some JRPGs banned in some countries, but this one was not banned from a specific one, but from an entire platform, Steam of all places. And this was done quite recently, a couple of weeks ago. It was originally released on PS Vita and Steam. It's part of a media franchise called To Heart 2, and this is a sequel to a game we never got, developed by Sting Entertainment, masters of brutally hard JRPGs, and published by Atlus. I have no idea why Atlus decided to bring this over, but of course they had to censor it in the process. Same as NIS America with the European release, but its original PSP version stayed in Japan. Because of YouTube's policies, I can't show the few specific images that were pretty much responsible for its censorship, but you can even see them on Wikipedia if you're interested. After seeing them, I guarantee I won't need to give you an explanation as to why it was banned, but only from Steam, which means at least the censored PS Vita version is still available. Number 4. Mary Skelter Finale. I'm not sure why the original Mary Skelter game seems to have been left intact on both PS Vita and Steam. The sequel's release on Steam got rid of the infamous Purge minigame, where you have to clean the blood out of the girls' bodies. Switch version wasn't censored, strangely. However, after getting a lot of complaints, the publisher's Ghostlight released a patch to put the minigame back. PS4 version, however, never even left Japan. Sony of America and Europe refused it. Mary Skelter Finale, the third game, however, wasn't as lucky as its predecessors. The Purge minigame was completely removed from all versions. Some of the girls' outfits were altered to look more modest. Touching the girls in the menus implies no reaction, and when they turn into blood maidens, they're now in clothes in the portraits. This final game was straight up banned in Australia. Reasons given were against the alleged sexual violence implied of child-looking characters. Wow, it's hard to believe how the first two games got away with things, at least on Switch and Steam, but the final game got all the wrath worldwide in all systems. Number 3. Criminal Girls Invite Only. This was developed by defunct studio Imagipoc, published by Nipponichi Software on the PSP. Obviously we didn't get that version, but we did get its PS Vita and Steam releases, obviously censored. The game was straight up banned in New Zealand. Anyway, this is a top-down view dungeon crawler that takes place in a prison. You're a guard that must lead the female prisoners to escape it while fighting in turn-based battles. It has very interesting combat, by the way. It was censored and almost banned worldwide because of a specific minigame that's required for the girls to learn skills. One that is extremely pretentious and perverted, as you need to arouse the girls with the touchpad. Problem is, a couple of characters look notoriously like little kids, and that's always the reddest flag outside Japan. Localized versions increased the colorful steam to obstruct the explicit poses of the girls. I don't have much to say about its sequel, exclusive to the PS Vita, which pretty much faced similar problems. This one was banned in Germany, but everybody else got it. Number 2. Omega Labyrinth Z. It's a sequel to an only in Japan game that we never got for pretty much very similar reasons, since this game was about a girl who goes into a roguelike dungeon to increase her chest size. Yeah, getting power-ups in this game as you defeat enemies increases the size of any girl's boobs. Well, you can already imagine why it was banned worldwide. That's right, banned worldwide! The game was planned for an international release on the PS Vita by publishers P-Cube Games. Unfortunately, it was denied rating in Germany, Australia and the UK, so North America gave it the middle finger as well, thus locking the game's release as an exclusive to Japan. No reasons were given as to why, but if you read or watch any review whatsoever, you'll clearly see they didn't have to. Suffice to say, its biggest red flag was the touching feature that also included, once again, characters that look very young. Surprisingly though, the third game, Omega Labyrinth Life, did get a worldwide release. Obviously censored, altering some highly suggestive content or pretty much removing it. They also added some steam to obscure some of the nudity in the game. However, this was only done in the PlayStation 4 release, as the Switch and Steam versions seem to be uncensored. Weird how we did get the third game in the series while the second one got banned almost everywhere. Number 1. The Final Fantasy series. Oh yeah! Final Fantasy has been legendary for its outrageous level of censorship. While some sexy designs have gotten away in later titles, back in the 90s it suffered from a lot of alterations. Several enemies were considered as being designed too revealing for Western audiences, so they got covered up with clothes or shadows. Final Fantasy 4 and 6, for example, were perhaps the most overlooked by people. Most religious references were also altered for most games, as a matter of fact, especially the ones regarding Christianity, like spell names for example. Not sure why everything also directly related to death was changed. I mean, violence and revealing outfits is not enough, apparently death is also too much for everybody outside Japan. Well, it was in the 90s. Speaking about revealing outfits, you probably already know that Tifa's original design was changed for the remake. This was done by Square Enix themselves, so she was censored even in Japan. For some reason, Rinoa was covered up a little bit more in the remaster of Final Fantasy VIII, even though her original outfit didn't reveal that much. Extremely nonsensical changes considering how other characters with far more revealing outfits have been left intact in the series. Original artwork of some female characters was also altered, like Rydia, Porom and Ursula from Final Fantasy IV The After Years. Remember that scene where Celeste is being tortured in Final Fantasy VI? Gone in ports like the GBA version. Things about drugs, smoking or alcohol use have also been altered throughout the series, especially in the 90s. I don't think I need to continue, because Final Fantasy is the most popular JRPG series in the world, with Dragon Quest and Pokemon being pretty darn close. It's no wonder every single release has had at least something censored for very ridiculous reasons. And the worst thing of it all, like I mentioned, is that they just keep contradicting themselves. So if you think this censorship stuff is pretty much new nowadays, nope, now you've noticed it's been going on forever. For a long time, oh yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more JRPGs that were heavily censored, and I'm pretty sure some of you are gonna fill the comment section with those. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!